Today on the channel, we go across the Spider-Verse one final time as we rank this entire wave from my least favorite to my favorite.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another ranking and review video. As today we're talking all things across the Spider-Verse as we're going to list this entire wave from my least favorite to my favorite. But for all your across the Spider-Verse needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. And of course, anything over $59, it does ship free. Got to get a deal out there. But today, we're talking all things across the Spider-Verse. A little bit of a controversial Marvel Legends set, to be honest with you. A lot of people said, nope, not for me. Don't want anything to do with these. These are not in the traditional Marvel Legends packaging. Of course, Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, the prior movie, is a Spider-Man movie, obviously geared at kids, but adults do get enjoyment out of it as well, as we do know. But I've said it in all the unboxings of these videos for this set that my kids, they love the Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, whatever we want to call it, universe there. They really do enjoy that. And like I said, Miles Morales is their Spider-Man. So crazy, the changing of the guards, the changing of fandoms, things like that. So maybe people like us that grew up with Peter Parker and the Fox Kids animated Spider-Man cartoon, or even some of the 80s, 70s cartoons, maybe we can't find the enjoyment in this, but others can. And a very interesting wave here. Some good, some bad, some ugly, as we did find out. Some things I love, some things I really don't love. Really does run the whole gamut here, and we'll see what happens here. And of course, we're going to do this ranking. We're going to start at the end and work our way up to number one. I'm going to ask you guys, try to put your rankings in there if you can. Put them in the comments down below. Make sure you do put them in order, as that is the challenge. That is the hard part, and it might be really hard to do in a line like this. But we got, what, 8 figures here? So we're going to start off at number 8. Which one is my least favorite? And I think it's going to be Jessica Drew. And once again, much like a lot of these MCU movies, things like that, we do a lot of these unboxings before we ever see the movie. So we don't really know what to expect. Who knows? She could have a heart of gold and we all fall in love with her in the movie. Not exactly sure. But when I think of Jessica Drew, this isn't the Jessica Drew I'm accustomed to in my Spider-Man fandom. So they've totally reworked the character, totally changed some stuff. So we'll see. Maybe it'll pay out. Maybe it'll be better than ever. But as of what I know right here, this just seems like a lady that's kind of standing waiting for the bus is kind of what it reminds me of. Nothing really special. I don't feel any superhero. I don't feel a whole lot going on with this one. Don't have a connection to the character either, so pretty easy to put her at the end. But that being said, I really do like the head sculpt with the glasses, and I love the big Sideshow Bob type hair going on there. Very cool, and a very cool sculpt. A one-and-done sculpt, most likely. We'll see what happens there, and that's one thing I should say about this. They really took some chances with this line. As we always say, get the most out of your molds. The majority of these figures here, they're not going to get another mold out of them. So I found that to be really, really interesting. And I do think it probably goes and talks to the overall profitability of this toy line. And we do know Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse has other toy lines out there geared for even littler kids out there, I guess we'll say. So I got to think it's a pretty profitable line. We do know the first movie made a lot of money. I would assume this one will make a lot of money as well. So we want to cover that as well in this unboxing, or this ranking, we'll call it here. So we got 8 figures. That's number 8. Number 7, I'm going to the Spot, an interesting one, and a character, once again, not very familiar with. I've heard the name, but I don't know a whole lot about the character. Is he going to be the big bad guy in this movie? I don't know, but man, he is a creepy looking figure. Looks like Ankeny, like I did say in the unboxing. Very crazy, alien-like proportions on this guy. Just very, very creepy, and just a strange figure. I mean, it's basically a white figure with black spots on it. I mean, pretty easy to do, but very, very strange. So he's coming in at number 7 because of his craziness. There you go. Number 6 for me, I'm going to go Spider-Gwen. Uh-oh, Spider-Man 2099 takes a header. I'm going to go Spider-Gwen just because she is so small. There's just not a ton of meat on the bone. And if you have the last version from Into the Spider-Verse, I think you're good. I don't know if you need both of these. Unless you're like me, you're going to display the different head sculpts. That's the only kind of saving grace for this for me. There's not a lot here, but it is a character that resonates pretty well. It is a nice character. I like the color combinations on it. It's just nowhere near the top of my list at the end of the day. So there's 8, 7, 6. We're on to number 5, and I'm going to go to Spider-Man 2099 at number 5. Now, this is the character out of this whole set I'm the most familiar with, as I did collect the comic when it first started back in the day when I was a kid. Always liked Spider-Man 2099, but once again, my mind's eyes. He takes a header too. This is a very difficult set to get to stand as well. I should mention that, as these are very hard to pose, even with stands in some cases. Very hard to get these characters to stand up. But Spider-Man 2099, a character I know, a character I remember, a character I did read, just doesn't look like my Spider-Man 2099. It's close, it's similar, but it's got crazy proportions to it. Almost reminds me a little bit of Superman the Animated Series that kind of ran alongside Batman the Animated Series. Kind of those proportions that Superman had is what Spider-Man 2099 has here in this action figure. So not the greatest thing, but not absolutely terrible. That's what I'm going to say about Spider-Man 2099. So that's number 5. So now we got down to the final 4 here. And I'm going to go Miles Morales at number 4. Once again, kind of the Spider-Gwen syndrome. We've had him before. We've had different versions. We've had Miles Morales before. Like I just said, I'm going to say it twice. But just different enough to be cool, but still a very small figure and perceived value. Once again, a very small figure. And one thing about this entire wave, $24.99 price point, no Build-A-Figure. So once again, the water's being tested by Hasbro, but in return, we did get the plastic prison with this set. So all over the place of what they're doing here and trying to figure out where Hasbro exactly lays. We know they've had struggles lately. We know they've announced they're bringing back plastic packaging. I think they're really trying to find their way in this set, the Guardian set, and a few of the single pack releases they've had currently. I think they're really checking the list, checking it twice like a young Santa Claus, trying to decide which direction do we go into the future. And I think some of the sales from these will really dictate that more than they normally do. That's what I'm going to say there. So 87654, down to the final 3 now. Number 3, you know what? Very strange, but I'm going to go to Cyborg Spider-Woman at number 3. Now, this is the big, beefy deluxe figure. Once again, $50 perceived value. Seems awfully expensive for this. It is just basically a huge chunk of plastic with a lot of bells and whistles. We'll add that here, but I just don't know. Once again, not familiar. I know Cyborg Spider-Man, but I don't know anything about Cyborg Spider-Woman. I guess I will find out in the future. But $53 price point, as cool of a figure this is, takes a little of that coolness shine off when you're paying $10 to $20 more than the perceived value, once again, on this one here. But it does look cool, and never in a million years would I guess this is a Cyborg Spider-Woman unless I knew that, because it just, nothing about this screams femininity at all. I don't see female anywhere in this, so it's a little bit different there. Hard to get your head around a little bit on first impressions, because I think most people, if you say who this is, you're going to say, oh, it's a big cyborg or a big robot Spider-Man. That's what I think the mind's eye tells you when you see something like this for the first time. So getting pretty easy to finish this one off. We're going to go Peter B. Parker at number 2. A little bit plain Jane, yes, but I love Peter Parker in the last Into the Spider-Verse. He was kind of the jewel of the series and in the figure as well. And we get a little bit of that here as well with this one in Across the Spider-Verse. I like that he has his masthead, still has the sweatpants, the bare feet. Gives a little Easter egg to the past with a nod to the future, so you kind of got both versions of Peter B. Parker. Just very cool. It's kind of lazy Spider-Man is really what it feels like at the end of the day. And then we're going to finish it off. No doubt in my mind, no doubt in probably most people's mind, I got to think Spider-Punk, Punk Spider-Man, Punk Rock Spider-Man, whatever we want to call him. I got to think he's going to be like a top 3 for most people that are ranking this line. I absolutely love this one. I love punk rock. I love guitars. I love Spider-Man. I love the coolness of this figure. Just really cool. Now, once again, you do get the small, crazy proportions. I don't know if it's as cool as the previous version from many years ago, but it's definitely a different take on things. And I really like stuff like this as far as, you know, stuff I'm into. Punk rock, heavy metal, things along those nature. Putting that with Spider-Man. I don't care if he's really thick like Spider-Woman, Cyborg Spider-Woman, or like this. Either way, I'm going to like it at the end of the day because I love the guitar, and I've already heard from people reaching out saying I'm customizing using that with something else, so there's some fodder in that. I think somebody said, too, they're going to take the vest, the jacket off, put that on a different figure. So customizers are going to love this. Obviously, Spider-Punk fans are going to love this. Spider-Man fans are going to love this. Across the Spider-Verse movie fans are going to love this. Heavy metal fans are going to love this. There's a lot to love about this one, and this is probably my favorite one, my favorite Marvel Legends figure that I've had recently. recently. We've had quite a few sets lately. This is probably at the top of that list if I had to rank all of them. And I got to think at the end of the year, he will be in the top 10 list somewhere because I really do like this one. He moves very easily, very posable, just very cool looking on my shelf at the end of the day. So there was no doubt at the start, no doubt at the finish. He was number one ranking across the Spider-Verse figures. But a mixed bag lineup to sum it all up. Like I said earlier, there's a little bit of something for everybody here, and there's a lot of collectors, I think, that are just going to pass on by this one. Nothing interests them. A lot of people are kind of worked up about the different proportions, the different scaling, and things like that with this one. At the end of the day, that's the beauty of it. You vote with your wallet. Tell Hasbro what you want in figure form by not buying or buying action figures. But there is some cool stuff, as we've seen throughout these unboxings. But I would never say this is the greatest Spider-Man wave ever, the greatest Marvel Legends figure wave ever, anything like that. I don't even think it'll be the greatest wave of the year. But it does have some redeeming qualities, but it does have a few misses, at least as of right now, before I've seen the entire movie. So there it is, across the Spider-Verse rankings. Make sure you put your rankings down in the comments. And while you're here, don't forget to give the old Hacksaw Jim Duggan thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we're unboxing all kinds of stuff every single day on this fair YouTube channel. Would love to have you a part of it, so make sure you do subscribe. Hit the old notification bell. Don't forget about the Patreon for early access to all these videos and every other video here on the channel. And best of all, you do support the channel as a Patreon member. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And then don't forget to hit me up and follow along over on social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter. Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Across the Spider-Verse, one last time, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.